So thanks again, everybody, for joining to Azure TotalView Insights for Agile webinar with product demo. So this webinar will be around 40 minutes or 45 minutes with a question and answer sessions at the end. You can ask questions anytime in the questions pane of GoToMeeting or GoToWebinar. And as you exit this webinar, please do fill in the survey form that opens. We would very much appreciate it, especially now when we are launching a new software, new product, and your opinions are very much appreciated. You will be receiving a recording of the webinar as well as the materials that I'm going to show within a few days from this webinar. My name is Tuomas Leppilampi. I'm a self-proclaimed software enthusiast and the product manager at Azure. Very passionate about exploring new ways of doing things in the development lifecycle. And of course, these days, it requires quite a bit of understanding of enterprise IT and DevOps and analytics in that area. I have quite a bit of work history with Fortune 500, Test Center of Excellence, and shared services in general. And also have been running Agile projects for several years now as a product owner and also as a Scrum Master. You can reach me in email, tuomas.leppilampi@azure.net. So feel free to drop me an email during this webinar or after it. Just a few words about Azure as a company. Our mission at Azure is to enable our clients to have actionable insights across the IT landscape. We have a flagship product, Azure TotalView, that concentrates in advanced analytics in the software development lifecycle. Essentially, we provide the tools that drive an optimized business intelligence solutions for DevOps environments. A couple of words about TotalView Insights and data software products. How are they lined up to create TotalView Insights in general? So on the lower layer here, we have TotalView Data, which is a powerful data extraction engine and has a dedicated warehouse. So what we do is we pull information from your data source systems. So currently we've released 2 out-of-the-box products, one for development, which is this Insights for Agile, into which we pull information from Atlassian Jira, the #1 issue management system in the world right now. For the testing area, we have many years of experience of HP ALM, or these days it's called Micro Focus ALM. It used to be called Quality Center in the past as well. So a dear child has many names and it's been going through many transformations. We have already a product called Insights for Testing, into which we pull information from Micro Focus ALM. Next up in our roadmap, we have operations area. So to complete our DevOps offering as a first step, we are also going to be pulling data from ServiceNow. So this will give us a possibility to see, for an example, defect leakage from our development lifecycle and our development area into the actual operations part. So this will be a major breakthrough in the TotalView Insights product family. So how it really works is that we pull information from the source system using an ETL extract, transform, and load technology, basically just SQL Server integration services. And we extract data from multiple sources into a staging database. And in the staging database, we transform the data into a reporting-friendly format. As you may know, if you have been looking at the Jira backend, it's a very complex data model in the database itself. And we are making it easier for people to report on it by just simplifying it into a business intelligent data warehouse format. Now then the data is stored in the dedicated warehouse and then visualized on the upper layer, which is TotalView Insights. So TotalView Insights, what are they really? Web-based reporting dashboard. So you have one URL where you can access and see multiple reports and analytics from across your development and testing landscape. Then you have Azure Metrics Library. So we've created a lot of dashboards for a lot of customers in the past. And with these products, we are pulling the most important metrics that we found to be useful for all of our customers into Azure Metrics Library. So upon purchasing this product, you will be then eligible for future updates. So we will be updating the content of TotalView Insights periodically. And it also has a rich feature set. So we have secure access management. So people will only see the data that they are actually supposed to see. And it's got strong collaborative features, as well as then report distribution features. You can automatically distribute reports to a number of people's email addresses, for an example, or RSS feeds or other ways of consuming through the TotalView Insights layer. Additionally, you have a lot of customizable views and metrics. So you can customize the views to a certain extent. And of course, you can create your own metrics. So this is by no means a closed system, but rather an open system into which you can also develop additional metrics and reports if you have ClickView development power in your house. The software where we are basing TotalView Insights is ClickView, which might be familiar to a lot of you. So these were the TotalView Insights and data software products at a glance. Now a few words about challenges in Enterprise Agile. So for teams issue management, Jira is a great tool, and it's also got really good reporting capabilities on the team level. So you can see your sprint burn downs and similar kind of simple reports in your project level in Jira very easily. And then you can use in Jira, you can use a lot of add-ons or something like this to also have additional insights regarding your projects and the teams that are working in these projects. But how to scale up to management view? So this is a major aspect of our development requirements, why we actually started to create this tool. Additionally, can we link our development and business outcomes? From development, we always expect that our releases are released on time and so on, but how to actually really link them to whatever we want from the business for actual customer happiness or better product quality and so on. So this is definitely something that is challenging in Enterprise Agile, and we think it's very important to already now embark on an analytics journey, which will give you additional transparency and a holistic view over your projects at this moment. Agility also brings diversity. So a lot of Agile projects work in very different ways. So even if they would be in the same area, one project could decide to work on this way, and the other project could decide on another route. So how to make an analytic solution robust enough to fit multiple different Jira usage models. Most of us are having Agile transformation initiatives right now in our organizations. It's not very easy always to know if the Agile transformation is really even happening and how well are we progressing with it. How well are people taking Jira and Agile into use, and can we really even track how well our Jira is used and how well people are aligning to our Agile processes that are the core of our transformation initiative. Many companies also shifting from delivering large software packages like 4 times or quarterly releases or biannual releases, and they're changing to cloud services, for example. So cloud services, developing cloud services is of course inherently a very different process, because you have continuous small updates instead of big releases. Think something like Amazon, for example. They don't really release a quarterly heavy big release. They push updates to their core systems every 20 seconds or so. So it's a very different way of releasing software than we did in Waterfall. Additionally, how do we know which projects are really contributing the same software version release? So if we have something that is going out to the customer and it includes a lot of small version updates within our internal versioning program, how do we know which one of these contribute to the same customer release? All of these questions are something that we started to think about when we embarked on this journey for creating Insights for Agile. A couple of words about the value proposition. So there's a lot of manual reporting and meetings, status meetings, and these kind of things happening in large environments. So you might have hundreds of projects running in parallel. So how do you really know how well your development projects are progressing? Because they are these small agile work groups. So would you go to a 200 meetings or ask for 200 project reports? Well, this is of course a little bit of an exaggeration, but even if you have 20 development initiatives under you, it might be really time consuming to not just create the reports, but also to consume the reports and sit in those meetings to try and interpret what do these people mean regarding progress or quality, and what do as compared to some other projects that you have in your portfolio. So we suggest that we could reduce up to 70% of the cost in effort of gathering and displaying report. And these would be in product management, where you have a single source of truth for development initiatives, and you can reduce risk by making informed decisions based on facts rather than hearsay or information that is a little bit out of date. For IT operations, we offer better cost control and efficiency through transparency and planning capabilities. And in program management, we enable insights into development projects. So program management could actually see which development projects could need help. And through this kind of reporting, it's also easier to plan and predict outcomes when we go forwards into new releases with the same teams. Now, we don't want development projects to be bogged down by additional report collection on these kind of things. We want them to have less reporting duties and more time for feature development. We want to provide them agility and flexibility while satisfying high-level reporting requirements. So some of the positive business outcomes: reduced overall cost through to automated report gathering from agile development landscape, and a holistic view over multiple development initiatives that is reducing overhead. This all supports a culture of common language and transparency, which lowers induction time for people moving between projects. You don't have to explain so many things again and again for people who are moving into a project, because they already know some of the basics on which you build your agile processes. Faster time to market, because your role-based drill down from strategic to operational reporting level that I'm going to show you very soon in the demo. This allows identification of release bottlenecks before they turn into blockers. And of course, the ability to plan better due to historical trend reports. So why would you consider investing to TotalView Insights for Agile? Compared to Jira native reports and plugin style reporting solution, of which there is no shortage in the Atlassian marketplace, what we provide is centralized reporting for all Jira installations and projects in the enterprise. But many times Jira reporting is mainly for the team and for inside the project. So what we want to do is we want to go higher than that, pull information from multiple Jiras and multiple projects, and then show them, consolidate them all into one view. Another thing is, which is a major concern for a lot of our customers, is performance. Any of these plugin style reports or Jira native reports will always have a performance impact to Jira application server. This is now minimized with TotalView Insights for Agile because of a dedicated reporting server into which we pull information through the backend. So the impact for the actual live server on which people rely on their everyday work is minimized. Additionally, we have interactive and customizable dashboards with a rich set of features. Functionalities that are you might be familiar with ClickView. They're all in your use by using TotalView Insights for Agile. About Jira usage, you may say, okay, we have 200 different projects and they have 200 different ways of using Jira. We really require only a minimal set of activities to be able to calculate the metrics within our tool. We expect the versions or releases, which is an interchangeable term in Jira. So versions and release and or epics should be tracked within Jira. So this means you just create the release there and add your issues into a release. And whenever you go forwards, you just put your stories, tasks, or bugs into sprints. Now, some people also think that bugs shouldn't be created unless they are leaked from one release to another. But what we think is very important also within one project or one release to also report bugs. You don't necessarily have to do a whole story points estimation and all these kind of jump all the hoops with bugs. But at least if you can put the bugs into Jira and add them in the sprints for solving. This is one of the prerequisites that we like to see in Jira usage. So there's no custom fields required, but if you do have additional fields, such as, for example, you would like to see your bugs root cause analysis, then we can always leverage the information that you already have in your Jira to create new filters or even new metrics to the dashboard, depending on our requirement. All right, let's go forward. So who is this for? So our dashboards are designed for several levels of analytics in Agile development activities. And we start from program managers who are looking over multiple projects, and then of course project managers, scrum masters, product owners, and other stakeholders that can answer these questions, among others. So which development initiatives or projects would need our help? Are we able to reach our planned release schedules based on our current velocity and the timeline that we have set for our release? What is the readiness of a single feature or an epic within the product? What is the actual development capability of our project teams and how is it evolving? And what is our ability to estimate our development velocity? How many sprints would we still need to complete our version release based on our current progress? Is our backlog receiving active treatment, or are we just leaving issues there to go sour? What are the issues that need attention before the release? Are there any blockers? So these are a few of the questions that we ask ourselves when we started creating this product. Okay, so it's time to jump into the demo itself. I will answer a question. In addition to Jira and ALM, can you pull data from other tools like Jenkins? And yes, we can definitely pull data from other tools like Jenkins, but this, what we are actually demoing here is just the out-of-the-box version of our product. And usually what we do is we provide this to the customer, and then the customer starts planning, okay, so what kind of information would I need from Jenkins to complete my reporting landscape? So this is definitely possible, and as I said, we are in no way closed system, so it's definitely also suggested that you would continue the development once you have purchased it. So here we are looking at the landing page of TotalView Insights for Agile. And this is formed now, so on the left-hand side, we have a bunch of filters. So our filters are of Jira instance, and Jira instance is Jira installation. So you might have multiple Jira installations in your organization, and each one of them have multiple projects. And sometimes you might even be working on the same release in multiple Jira installations. So your backend team would have one installation, your front-end team will have one installation, and so on. So we definitely will pull information from multiple Jiras and then bring them all together into an analytics layer for you to be able to see a holistic view over your development landscape. So I can quickly, for an example, I can quickly choose different release trains here. So this is just a way to group different versions and products together, because sometimes the Jira project or the version or the instance doesn't give us really the actual value chain. So what are the versions that together make something that we want to release? So I could, for an example, choose here now, I choose ART1, and I see a subset of my releases. So everything changes in the dashboard. And whenever I change to, for an example, ART2, you can see a completely different set of releases here. And while I've selected as a filter, while I've selected one of these release trains, or I could select one of the instances, I can quickly see that some of the projects and versions have now become white, and some of them are gray. And this is something that we like to call the power of gray. So it's an associative model, which tells us these projects are relevant for your current filter in the Agile Release Train 1. And whatever is outside of it will be marked as gray. So this is a good way of seeing what kind of dependencies you have, for an example, between your projects and your versions as well. Okay, so let's go to the actual dashboard contents there. So we had our filters here, and whatever filter we have selected at the moment, we can see as a current selections down here. So on the top ribbon, what we have is the scope. So how many Jira projects are we pulling data from right now, and how many active versions are we working on in all of these projects? Next up, we have projects reaching version end dates. So we can see which projects and which versions are reaching their end dates next. And then we see a couple of KPIs. So we see the percentage of completed issues and the percentage of time elapsed. So for an example, we have MegaWare 3.2 coming to close soon, and they've only completed 40% of their issues, while over 80% of their time has elapsed already. And this will give them a red, amber, green status of red. For this reason, I would like to discuss with this particular version or the project to understand why they still have 60% of their issues not completed, while they're already coming to the end of their timeline. Maybe they took too much on in the beginning. That could be one thing. They would just then reduce their scope. Or another thing is they could actually have bumped into a quality problem, and the quality problem has suddenly created a lot of new bugs, and suddenly our backlog has so many new bugs that our scope has grown quite a lot, and for this reason we've only completed 40% of the issues in such a long time. Down here we see a portfolio view, and in the portfolio view we see two axes, and one is completed, percentage completed, and the other one is percentage time elapsed. So for each one of these spheres in the metric, they are a version. So this is a Jira version or a release, and it will travel from 0 to 100 within the timeline that we have defined for this particular release. Say MegaWare would have 5 months going from 0 to 100. So the start and end date that we projected in the beginning of the activity was 5 months in between the start and end. So it would take MegaWare 3.2 5 months to travel from 0 to 100%, unless we of course change the expected end date. And during this time, we would expect the team to also complete the scope of what they have taken into their release. So while we are traveling from 0 to 100 in the schedule, we also would expect to travel from 0 to 100 in our scope. So in the beginning, in Agile projects, it might be that a lot of these projects, for example, in here, they could be just about anywhere in the beginning, and we couldn't really say that much about if they are doing well or not. So it really actually becomes relevant in the later part of the release, because then we should have already nailed our scope down, and we should be well on the way to actually completing that scope. So as a program manager or someone who is looking at multiple versions readiness, for example, I could be a product owner, and I know that, for example, for my next customer release, I would need to have Lightware, Newware, Xware, and Megaware, as well as Baseware completed, all of them. And that would give us the possibility to release something to the customer. So this could be a good view for me to understand where are the different releases going on a normalized timeline. If I would be this person and looking at multiple versions and wondering who of these should I help, maybe Baseware 12.8.1, that's definitely something that's in trouble at the moment, but Megaware is very large, so the amount of issues in here is quite a lot. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to set a filter on it. So I just select this particular sphere in the metric. In here I see some details. So I see which Jira instance is working on, which business line or release train. And then you have your scope completed and time lapsed. Now I still don't know what really is going on in this particular release, so I'll drill down a little bit further. So currently I was in management on portfolio view, and now I'm going to the other page of the management dashboards, which is the status view. In status view, I see a couple of KPIs like created versus resolved issues, outstanding bugs by priority, and backlog trend. So in created versus resolved issues, I've noticed that I've created a lot of issues and I brought them to my release, but I've not been able to catch the created line with my resolved line as I would like to expect. So it's really plateaued here, and there's something going on. Also, when I look at the outstanding bugs by priority, if I want to drill down a little bit deeper, I can see that on a daily level, let me toggle to the daily levels, and I would be expecting to close most of my bugs by this time, but for some reason I'm stuck. For the longest time now already, I haven't been able to resolve the bugs, especially the highest priority ones. So there's something really going on in this project, and I'd like to know how could I help. Also in the backlog trend, I see all the time the trend is on the up. So we are not actually eating from the backlog, but we are actually adding into it all the time. So deeper into the KPIs, I'm looking at bug rate. So my bug rate currently is 50%. So bug rate meaning how many percentage of all the issues that I'm closed in this particular version have been bugs. So either I'm just doing a, like megalomaniac maintenance project where I'm fixing my technical debt and just pulling a lot of bugs into the product or the project. But then my backlog trend would be going down because I would already have known those bugs because they are my technical debt. So clearly, because my backlog trend is going up and my bug rate is 50%, there is some kind of a quality issue. I'm pretty sure about it already. So going forwards, I'm drilling down into the progress pages. So in the progress pages, I have three different sub-reports. One of them is project report, another one version report, and then we can look at the same things in this release from the Epic perspective. So in the project report, I can see some details here already. So I can see the name of the project, release train, project manager, and Jira instance, and some KPIs such as how many percentage of my higher priority bugs have been resolved. I'd like it to be 100, of course, all the time. And how many percentage of my issues have I completed up until now. So I have 1,000 issues in my scope and 400 have been completed up to date. And also the breakdown of my different issue types clearly tells me that I have a lot of bugs still open and then already resolved. Some of the basic project contents, like how many versions do I have active, how many epics do I have active, and how many sprints do I have in total and active. Down here, I can see the scope burn up for my Megaware 3.2. So I've been taking in a lot of issues over time. So I can see that beginning of 2017, I started taking a lot of issues in. Suddenly I get a peak here, and after that I've been plateauing on both sides. So there's definitely something that my team is currently stuck with. So they have not been able to resolve new issues, but then again, we have not found new bugs either, that much at least. On the right-hand side, we see a bug percentage rate. So this is, again, for each week, for each past week, how many percentage of all the issues we closed were bugs. And it's all the time, it's been very high. So I would actually go to Mr. Dwight Schrute and ask, if there's something I could do to help, because it seems like they have run into a bad patch of development crisis or some development problems in this release. I can also go a little bit deeper. I can look at the version report and see how my sprint commitment is doing. And in my sprint commitment, I've on the orange line, it's what I expected to do each sprint. And at this point, I suddenly realized that my completion against my commitment has not been what expected. So I've started to roll down also my expectations for completion. So in my current sprint, I only have 57 issues to be resolved, but only up until now I've done 14. So I could also go into current sprint burn down and just select a single sprint and see the breakdown in this level as well. However, this is not really what we are competing with, because I think in Jira all these current sprint burn down graphs and everything, they're pretty good. So essentially what we really do here is we're looking at multiple releases and a single release in terms of trying to understand what kind of challenges might they be experiencing and how could I help. As I said, another way of looking at things is the epic report. So what I can do is I can just drill down into a single epic within my release, and in the epic status I can see a lot of the basic KPIs up here, and then I have my epic status. So 38% is to do, 21% in progress, and 41% done. And here I can see over time how my epic has received treatment and what kind of scope do we have. Additionally, I could have here, for an example, unestimated issues. So if I'm always using story points, like you have here, the toggle between issues and story points, then I could change between these to have a more detailed effort estimation with story points. But sometimes, we don't always define the story points when we add some new issues. So this metric would also show you if there are a lot of issues that are unestimated, which would also tell you that trusting story points at that point wouldn't be all that wise. Also, this gives me a possibility to toggle between different issue types, so I can quickly see how am I doing with my stories as opposed to my bugs, for example. Okay, so this was the progress dashboards. So in the progress dashboard, we had our project report, a version report, and epic report. And I'm just going to delete a couple of these filters and still show you a couple of pages of issue analysis. So in issue analysis, we have our created versus resolved issues. We have a cumulative flow diagram. And then you can also drill down into the actual issue list. So in the issue list, we have all the issues, the Jira issues that might, for example, be blocking our, if they would be critical high priority bugs that we haven't been able to resolve. This would give you a quick overview regarding what those bugs are, and then who is the assignee, so who should I talk to in terms of trying to figure out how to help. Also, you could send this to Excel, this information, for additional review. So this was a quick overview and a quick demo regarding our TotalView Insights for Agile. So we started off from the management portfolio view, and we identified an active version that was going through some trouble, and we drilled down all the way to single sprint level and even the issue list if needed to find out how best to help Megaware 3.2 to get back on track. I'll jump back to my presentation. So the customer journey as we like to see it. So before, timely reporting over multiple projects is nearly impossible without significant manual effort. Multiple reporting solutions are often created and maintained across the enterprise, creating overhead in developing and maintaining them. And there is usually no single version of the truth, especially now with a lot of agile transformations going on in our customers. And these agile transformations tend to change things quite a lot, how things are done and how things are interpreted. So we don't really see a single version of the truth in companies at the moment. The way we see it, after implementing some other solution, creating of a reporting system with a central data warehouse can be very costly and time consuming when you do it internally. We've seen a lot of examples where companies use up to 2 to 3 years to create an in-house business intelligence solution, only to just roll out a couple of metrics or a couple of dashboard pages that also then is very, very difficult to maintain, as the data source systems are changing all the time, processes are changing all the time, and you would quickly need to reflect any changes done in your processes in source system into your metrics that people are using every day. So providing new features is also always an additional effort. So you will not be getting anything unless you actually put some development effort into it. So what we like to say is that out-of-the-box product provides a proper data warehouse and data visualization capabilities, and the manual effort in reporting is minimized and a single version of truth provided by using a unified reporting solution. And the frequent updates that we provide our products eliminate risk and provide new features without additional effort within your company. Of course, if you want to create your own metrics, as I said, this is not a closed system. You can start to do that, but usually we like to be there in the beginning just to give you good documentation of the tool. For example, the data warehouse is really well documented. So you get all the calculations, the data elements, everything listed into the metrics catalog that we provide with the product. And this will be a great resource for you to understand what kind of metrics are you really dealing with and how to change them if you want to change them in the future. So now for some Q&A. I hope we have some questions here. And so we have a question, currently data extraction from how many tools are supported? So data extraction, we are pulling data from, I guess this is how many different kinds of tools. Well, we can pull data from, actively we've done it from ServiceNow, from Jenkins, from HPALM, from Jira, and we're planning SonarQube and a couple of other tools, but the next release that we have is for ServiceNow. Additionally, we also can pull information from Excel. So if you can extract any kind of, you can extract from your data source system into Excel, you can definitely upload that very easily into the product and then just start reporting on that data as well. Okay, another question is, what about test reports? Want to see pass rate trends and so on. So test reports in Agile, we're currently really looking at Jira. So if you would want to see some unified dashboards, we have these on the works, but we don't yet have a out-of-the-box product combining the test rate and the development rate in the same dashboard. So this is something that's coming up in our roadmap. And if you would like to see additional demos from our plans, we're more than happy to show you. So just please contact us and we can show you what we have planned recently. But for this particular product, we are not yet combining test and development data in the same dashboard. And but this is definitely something that is coming up in the future. Okay, then we have how does this product relate to your TotalView Insights for testing? And this is actually a continuation from the previous question. So Insights for testing is definitely to satisfy the question that we just were asked. So you would see pass rate over releases and see all these kind of testing metrics. And we'd like to combine a lot of the metrics that we already have Insights for testing with Insights for Agile, because they're definitely two products that live in parallel. So they can live next to each other, and the more you can combine metrics from these two, of course it requires internal activities as well. For example, if you want a release filter, you'd need to have the same release code in both your test management system and your development management system. So this is something that you would need to internally do within your data. So what is the implementation process? What are the services required and so on? We implement this by usually we come in and install the data warehouse for pulling data from your existing system. So we install one SQL Server instance, and in the SQL Server instance, you just need to install the package SQL Server Integration Services, which is free of charge as long as you have SQL Server license. And this we will then direct to pull data from your current system. So whatever system you have, like Jira in this case, we would pull the information from the backend, whether it be PostgreSQL or Oracle or MySQL or whatever the backend is, the database is, we can pull data from all of these databases into our dedicated warehouse. After that, we will install a web server, which is the front end that houses the actual user interface, the TotalView Insights. And the TotalView Insights then looks at the data warehouse to visualize the data. Another one is, does it integrate with Zephyr? So this is definitely the next step actually where we have is to include data from both testing and development into the same dashboard, and wherever the testing data would come from, whether it comes from ALM or Zephyr, it's most likely going to be more or less the same data model. So we can definitely use our existing metrics also to house information from Zephyr. But this is something that is coming up from our roadmap. So this particular version, this out-of-the-box version, doesn't yet pull from Zephyr, but it's very, very near in our future roadmap. How do you deal with non-standard data? So that's a good question. And as I said in the beginning, we do not yet require almost anything that is outside of the normal usage scheme. We require people to set their issues in releases or versions, and then execute them in sprints. And also to report bugs, at least the bugs that have been found and fixed outside of a sprint. So if something happens within your sprint, it doesn't really matter, because usually those are little issues that can be just fixed without any further Yahoo. But then if you have in regression tests or whatever you find bugs, then we would expect you to report them into Jira as issues into the backlog. How many Jira installations can you pull data from? Is it scalable? Yeah, so currently we've been testing with 3 to 5 different instances, and I would say I don't really see a limit. I would of course think about, because you can always go down into the project level. You can say within one Jira installation, I want to pull data from these 10 projects, but I don't want to pull data from these 5 projects that are archive or they are in such a different format that they are not useful for your reporting or similar. So you can definitely, in our TotalView management console, you can decide which data you want to pull. All right, so this was all of our questions for today, and I'd really like to thank everyone who gave out questions, and I'd very much like to thank everyone for your time. And yeah, so please remember the survey. Contact us to evaluate the project, info@assure.net, or see some of our future plans. And then remember our upcoming webinars. The February 22nd is TotalView Insights for Testing walkthrough. And then March 6th is a very interesting cost justification of automated reporting in QA. So this will give you an idea of a return of investment calculator when you're thinking about rolling out automated reporting in your organization and saving a ton of money with less meetings and less reporting duties. So thanks again. It's been great, and have a great day.